Hey there, and welcome. Today, we are going to seriously level up your Portuguese. We're moving way beyond the basics with 5 fantastic phrases that'll help you sound less like you're reading from a book and way more like a native speaker. All right, let's jump in. Does this sound familiar? You've studied all the grammar, you've memorized tons of vocabulary, but when you actually go to speak, you still feel, well, kind of robotic, like you're reading from a script. Look, it's a super common hurdle for language learners, but don't you worry, we are about to leap right over it. Think of this as building your very own linguistic toolkit. We're about to add some really authentic, everyday expressions that are going to make your Portuguese conversations just pop. I'm talking about the real stuff you'll hear on the streets of Lisbon or Sao Paulo. First up, we've got the absolute perfect word for when everything is just, well, easy. It's a really simple term, but it is just packed with local flavor and will make you sound instantly more natural. So the term is molezinha. Go on, say with me, molezinha. Now, it literally means a little soft, but it's used all over Brazil to describe pretty much anything that's super easy or a total breeze to do. So, how would you actually use it in a sentence? Well, for example, after an exam, you could say, aquela prova de matemática foi molezinha. It just sounds confident, right?
It's pretty much the perfect Portuguese equivalent of saying something was a piece of cake or a walk in the park. So next time you breeze through something, go on, give Molizia a try.
Okay, but let's be real. Life isn't always molezinha. Sometimes conversations get complicated or, maybe a little frustrating. So what do you say then? For those moments, we've got a couple of tools that are perfect for navigating those more direct, no-nonsense situations. First up is this wonderfully visual phrase, encher linguiça. It literally means to stuff a sausage. How great is that? It's used when someone is just rambling on, filling time with words, but not really saying anything important. It's the perfect equivalent of beating around the bush. You can use this when you just need someone to get to the point. Listen to the urgency here. Pare de encher linguiça e me conte o que aconteceu. It's direct, yeah, it's a little impatient, and it's very effective. So yeah, a super useful phrase for when you need answers and you kind of need them now. Now for a total classic that you'll hear in both Brazil and Portugal, porque sim. Just 2 simple words that can end a line of questioning instantly. It's the Portuguese way of saying just because, and it basically implies that no other explanation is coming. It's informal though, so maybe don't use it with your boss. A conversation might go something like this. Por que você comprou isso? Porque sim. See, it's simple, a little bit cheeky, and definitely final. A very, very common exchange, especially between parents and their kids. It's simple, it's direct, and it's powerful. A great little phrase to have in your back pocket. All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Our next set of tools deals with more personal situations. From making spontaneous decisions to simply not feeling your best. This one is all about spontaneity. No calor de momento translates to in the heat of the moment. You use it to describe something you did impulsively without a whole lot of planning. So for instance, imagine a friend asks why you showed up at a party you said you were going to skip. You could just reply, eu decidi ir à festa no calor do momento. It just perfectly captures that spontaneous decision. In English, we'd say on the spur of the moment. Yep, it's pretty much the exact same idea. It's a great way to explain an impulsive action. And finally, a very, very practical phrase that everyone needs to know, passar mal. This is your absolute go-to expression when you're feeling sick or unwell. It's a polite and really common way to explain why you might not be able to do something. Here's a classic example you might hear all the time. Eu não fui ao trabalho porque estava passando mal. It's clear, it's simple, and it gets the message across immediately. Now, while it can mean you're seriously ill, it's often used just like we use the English idiom feeling under the weather. So yeah, it's an absolutely essential phrase for everyday life. So there you have it, 5 fantastic new phrases added to your linguistic toolkit. But now, here comes the most important part. You've actually got to put them to use. Let's do a super quick recap. We've got molezinha for when things are a piece of cake, encher linguiça for when someone's beating around the bush, porque sim, which is our just because, no calor do momento for those spur-of-the-moment decisions, and passar mal for when you're feeling under the weather. Okay, now it's your turn to take these phrases from the screen and into your real life conversations. Seriously, don't be afraid to try them out. The next time you have an opportunity, just slip one in. So I'll leave you with this question. Which one are you going to use first?